it's Jennifer, your favorite pediatric occupational therapist. Today I thought we could talk sensory. That is one of the first questions that most parents ask me about, and it is sometimes difficult to explain. So I thought we could start with each sensory system and work from there. We're going to start with the tactile system because that is the largest system. It covers our entire body. We have the most sensory receptors in the tips of our fingers and on our lips. So it is really important that we start getting some sensory input into those hands early. Obviously, as babies, we get lots of tactile input with changing diapers, changing clothes, hugs, kisses, all that kinds of thing. But for kids who are a little tactily defensive, we're not getting the feedback that we want because they're often crying. And then the less they want it, the less we give it, and then it just kind of snowballs and perpetuates from there. So at the early age, at the preschool level, even under a year, we really want to encourage lots and lots of messy play. Kids will get that when they start feeding themselves, getting their hands in the food, and we really want them to explore with that method. But I brought out some of my favorite ideas for sensory play, for tactile play, and I'll write even more in the descriptive part for other things that you can use for sensory, for tactile. The first thing I brought out was lotion. Lotion is one of those easy things that we can do with kids after a bath and over their entire body. It's readily available, it's socially acceptable, and it's easy to do. And most kids like it. When we do lotion, what I often tell my parents is to give firm pressure, not light pressure, but firm pressure so that they know where your hands are at. I also have here Phloem, which is a sticky texture. It sticks together, it sticks to itself, but it doesn't really stick on your hands. So that is a little bit more enjoyable for some of my kids. And it's still moldable. You can roll it, you can make it into a ball. So Phloem is another idea that we use a lot. This is my rice container. And you can see, or you will see, that I have lots of different size containers. And I often put things in my container that they're also not going to be super happy about touching. A koosh ball is a good sensory activity, just for the feel of it. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I usually put a blanket down so that it catches any of the mess, so it's easy to clean up. We can just roll it up and then shake it outside. I have cotton balls or little puff balls that we can sort by color. We can put inside of our cup for fine motor skills. We can hide them. I have erasers in here so that we can match. Being able to dig inside the rice and being able to find an object that is not the rice is good for that tactile discrimination that we talked about in a couple of videos back. I have feathers in here. Feathers are, that light touch is often undesirable for some of my kids. So I put some of those in there just to make this a little more fun. And I oftentimes put silverware or equipment that they will see on a regular basis to help them with that scooping. So for my cup, my feather is in it, that maybe we want to use that bilateral coordination, that they're going to hold the cup and we're going to scoop into the cup. How many scoops does it take? Maybe we could pretend to feed my bear right here, my bear eraser, and we can work on that and that lip closure for the sound, the M sound. We can work on imitation skills. We can work on the bilateral coordination. If I have too many of these objects in there, the spoon to scoop with or the cup to scoop with, and I feel like they're not getting their hands in there enough, I will gradually just take those away and put those out of sight so that they have to go into the container to find the object. If I feel like I have too many items in here, then I'll just take them out. As they get more used to playing with the items inside the container, then I'll just start taking them out so that they have to get their hands in the rice. This is one of those things that we really do not want to force. It is uncomfortable for our kids and they are scared. So for us to put their hands in there to force them into it is not going to be a great situation. Instead, it would be much better if we modeled for them. So I will just play with the rice and touch the rice. Mom and dad will also touch the rice. Maybe the sister will touch the rice, or their favorite stuffed animal will touch the rice, so that they know that it's not hurting them as well. So rice is a activity that I use a lot. Another one of my favorite activities is Birdseed. So I use Birdseed, and again, I have a couple of toys in here, and I would start taking them out if I thought that was distracting to them, or if I really wanted them to get their hand in there. These different animals fit into the tree. So we can talk about upside down, right side up. There's a bit of strength that's involved getting the animals in and out of the tree. We can hide the animals in the Birdseed. We can feed the animals. Oh, here's my spoon. We can feed the animals like this. We can feed the tree if we wanted to put it in like this, just to get some more dexterity and precision. But again, what we really want to do is just get them used to touching a wide variety of materials. So Birdseed and rice are some of the easier materials for kids to touch because they are smooth. They're not sticky, they're not going to stick on their hands, but they don't always love the way that it feels. So that is another sensory activity that we could use. Another one that I brought out was kinetic sand. So again, I have a lot of containers in here that I would maybe take out if I thought that it was going to be distracting for them. And my kids will typically go for the shovels first. They like the shovels because then they don't have to touch the sand. If I make it so that they accidentally got touched by the sand, then that is how I will initiate them touching the material. So this is a little bit different. Again, it's not sticky, but it sticks together, kind of like Play-Doh. I have different animals in here so that we can talk about animal sounds, and we can hide the sheep inside. And then maybe I would hand this to the child so that he could find it. If he or she didn't want to find it, didn't want to touch it, maybe he could just start with his finger, one finger. Again, this is a very slow process. If you have a child who is afraid to touch different things, it could be a very long and tedious process. So the more you do it, the better it'll be. It's kind of like riding a bike. The more practice they get and the more materials they use, the better it is. My last item that I have over here is water. So water is easy because kids are used to it. They like to take baths, and maybe you can set them up at the sink while you're cooking, or maybe they can wash their toys, especially in the current environment that we're in. They can wash their toys at the sink, and it would work on the bilateral skills, and it would work on some hand strengthening. Some of the activities that I have in here is a little, I don't know if you can see, there's a little, oh, I forget what this is called, a little egg beater. Old school egg beater, and I'm working on that bilateral coordination, and it kind of makes the water go spinny, which is fun. I have a wind-up toy here, again working on that fine motor skill, and then my frog. Oh. You could see his little legs swimming. I have fish that if they squeeze, the water comes out, again working on that hand strength. I have a sponge in here so that if they squeeze it, they're working on that hand strength. And then I have little squirt guns in here. So again, I'm working on that dexterity and finger strength to squirt the water out. I have my beloved spoon in here so that we can work on some scooping and pouring. dumping and filling. So if I had 2 cups or 2 containers, I could squeeze with one hand and dump with the other. Squeeze with one hand and dump with the other. Again, working on that bilateral coordination. Some other activities that I don't have here but that I use a lot are shaving cream for the older child, and for the younger child I'll use Cool Whip, pudding. In case they put their hands in their mouth, then it would be easy for them to maybe repeat that activity because it was so delicious. Oats, flour, cooked noodles, raw noodles, lentil beans. The list is really kind of endless, and again, I will add as many as I can, the water beads, to the list. You can also use your feet in any of these activities if you have kids that have super sensitive feet. Don't be afraid to do that. Maybe they can pick an item out with their toes. So, to get you started on the tactile system, these are ways that we can play and still know that we are learning, that our body is learning through touch. Go outside, play in the grass, have fun. This would be a great outside activity now that spring is here. Have fun, stay safe, and wash your hands.